Good evening, everyone. It's Ken Washington from Water's Edge here in Westlake, Houston. I wanted to bring everyone up to speed on some things that have been going on this past week. I'm well aware of all the text messages and emails that I was receiving, and I know I was trying to gather some information for a lot of the residents who've been reaching out to me in regards to the construction that was observed on Westlake, Houston, adjacent to that 90-acre tract of land where the View at Lake Houston was supposed to be built, just south of the Lake Shore subdivision. Just to let everybody know, I did go out and meet with the construction crew. They're from the Precinct 3 Commissioner's Court maintenance crew. That was some maintenance that had to be done along the road where you noticed there was some flooding that they were out there trying to fix. And they were out there, I think they're going to be out there for about another week, if I remember correctly. I'll get an exact date for that project to be completed. But what they're doing along Westlake Houston has absolutely nothing to do with the View at Lake Houston. Also, I reached out to Commissioner Ramsey's office to confirm that. I happened to be down at the Commissioner's Court this past week when that project actually started, and there was no mention of it at the Harris County Commissioner's Court. I didn't see anything at the Harris County Housing Authority's page, so safe bet is for everyone to believe that that's just work on the roadway that needs to be fixed, that residents have been asking for repairs to happen to for several years now. But I was down to Commissioner's Court, and I know that Commissioner Ramsey was trying to address a vacancy on the Harris County Housing Authority. There's a vacancy open. Any of the commissioners can submit a name or nominee, and it was Commissioner Ramsey's opportunity to submit a name. He submitted my name. My name was on the agenda. The other commissioners, instead of discussing it in open forum, they wanted to go into executive hearing, and my nomination for that spot was shot down by Commissioner Ellis, and of course supported by Commissioner Garcia and Lena Hidalgo. Commissioner Ellis, in so many words, didn't feel that I was right for the spot. Now, everyone knows I've been speaking out a lot here over the last year and a half against Commissioner Ellis and Commissioner Garcia and Judge Hidalgo on some things that they have brought forth because they just didn't make any sense, where funding was going. And also I knew that Commissioner Ellis has been backing the Harris County Housing Authority in regards to different various projects around the county that didn't really address any problems. Well, Commissioner Ellis felt that I didn't fit that position. Basically, I'm not a Democrat that supports his cause, because there are some Democrats down there still trying to figure out what Hidalgo is going. So if it doesn't sit well with Ellis and Garcia, then they don't want to vote on it. The only sad thing about it is that previously there's a gentleman's honor between the commissioners that any nominee that they put forth, that it's agreed upon and it's pushed through, but not in this case. So Commissioner Ramsey is fighting an uphill battle in regards to getting things passed down there and standing up for the residents of not just Precinct 3, but Harris County that are going on, because there appears to be numerous projects and agenda items that are put forth that don't sit very well with the residents of Harris County. And I know if I invite you guys to come down and listen sometimes, you'll after probably about an hour or two, you're gonna be trying to figure out what's going on in the Commissioner's Court. So I'll continue to fight those agendas. I know that there was also an item on the table, ARPA money. There was some ARPA money, which is federal funds for structural development or to help different entities within the county recover from COVID. There was some ARPA money on the table for 7 positions that didn't exist before, that the county now wants to expand based off of previous conversation. They want to expand from 7 to 13, and they want to fund those positions $5.9 million. Well, Lena Hidalgo has said there's no money available for one position after another, namely law enforcement. $5.9 million will support easily 20 to 30 deputies in Harris County. And no matter how you broke those positions up between which constable's office or the sheriff's office, $5.9 million for 13 positions is ridiculous. Those are admin positions. Also, once those positions are created, the residents from Harris County are now on the hook for paying for those long term. So it makes absolutely no sense. Also, with that being said, back to the project at the View at Lake Houston, that money that's on the table, especially when it comes to the bond from this previous election. I don't think a lot of residents understood that there was a bond measure on for funding for the county. We just voted on a bond 4 years ago, but there was another one that was put on the table this past election. There were no guidelines or specific guidelines on how that money was to be used. And the concern was that the commissioners were going to take that money and push it over to the housing authority for them to use to build on whatever they wanted to. That was a huge concern. That money could have been used for law enforcement, whatever, and the commissioners court, namely Garcia and Ellis and Hidalgo, they don't see it needed to be used on law enforcement. Also, keep in mind that same project at the View at Lake Houston, that same property that's very valuable to the residents out here, because Umbel ISD has made 4 offers for that property, and for some reason, the Harris County Housing Authority has shot that down, which could have been money that could have been generated for them, and got that off the table. And just to see all of this these money transactions being approved by the Commissioners Court when they say they don't have money, but to fund other projects and other resources in the county that we absolutely don't need, that's going to put the taxpayers on the hook for this money long term. And the belief is that there's some backdoor deals that are going on that are creating issues for the taxpayers, but some persons on the Commissioners Court possibly are going to benefit from, or their friends. So there's a lot of chatter if you actually go down and listen and pay attention to what's going on that concern everyone. I know that some of the members on the Commissioners Court, Rodney Ellis and Garcia, are associated with some other individuals here in the Houston metropolitan area, Sylvester Turner, who happen to be under investigation for some other shady dealings, namely Hobby and Intercontinental Airport. And when you see multiple individuals in the same circle coming under investigation and indictments, you got to be kind of concerned about what they're actually doing with their fund, the money, and that's coming down from the federal government that's supposed to go to the taxpayers for development projects, but they mask it as something else. So I'm gonna keep my eye on these things. I plan on being at the next Commissioners Court meeting. Commissioner Ramsey's fighting an uphill battle, but also continue to reach out to Dave Martin if you live on West Lake Houston. He's our city council member. He can voice up a lot of concerns in regards to these projects. Continue to push on U.S. Representative Dan Crenshaw's office. A lot of these projects, when it comes to federal money, his eye should be on that. He should be speaking up to that, especially since the U.S. Congress is now in the hands of the Republicans. He has the ability to do that, ask more questions about where his money and stop his money until they get a grip on that. So continue to reach out. Don't give up. There's nothing going on with the View at Lake Houston at this time, but there's still a lot of issues with funding being approved across the county and across the region that are being sent to projects that have nothing to do with the residents and addressing their concerns. So until next time, Ken Washington from Water's Edge. Speak to you later.